Hey everyone, Dave Jackson here, ESPN rules analyst on ESPN Hockey, and you're listening to the Sports Circus.
Stretch! You can put it on the board! Yes!
Welcome to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster, Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP Television. Today's show is brought to you by UppercutChops.com. Check out their tasty selection of all-natural, dry-aged USDA Prime Angus and Wagyu steaks and chops. Wait till you taste their best-in-class New York steaks, the filet mignon, and of course the king of all, those gigantic cowboy cut and tomahawk cut ribeyes. Best I've ever had, probably be the best you ever have as well. Check them out at UppercutChops.com. That's UppercutChops.com. Or give them a call, find out what's for dinner, 714-948-0100, 714-948-0100. Again, 714-948-0100 for UppercutChops.com. All right, a big welcome in, everybody listening in on our CBS, NBC, and Fox Sports affiliates from coast to coast. Everybody watching on Cox, Comcast, Spectrum, Frontier, Oceanic, Time Warner, Spectrum, Wild, Charter, and independent cable affiliates. Thanks for joining us there, as well as Hotel TV, where applicable, all markets where applicable, also on cable, as well as everybody on all your streaming platforms and on Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook. Check that out, folks. Chicago Food Favorites. Talk about your favorite recipes, your favorite restaurants, your favorite foods, a fun food group. Make some friends, have some fun. Chicago Food Favorites on Facebook. All right, folks, we are here with a very special guest from the very top of the show and a longtime friend of the Sports Circus, and we're going to let him introduce himself. Go ahead.
Hello, yes, this is former Denver Broncos Ring of Famer, Rick Upchurch.
All right, he says Ring of Famer, and you know what I don't understand is when you're on the NFL All-70s decade team, all 80s, all decade team, how are you not in Canton?
Well, that's a good question. I've had the opportunity to sit down with Billy White Shoes Johnson and Dante Hall and a few other ball players that return kicks, for their teams. And I guess maybe they believe, the voters believe that we don't spend enough time on the field, or we're not a critical part of the game, so therefore they don't put a lot, of credit into the special teams and the return game, and so they feel that once again we're not warranted to get into, into Canton, into the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I don't understand that.
That's just our thought.
Yeah, and the good news is that Devin Hester made it in there, which may change things for people like yourself and Billy and for Brian Mitchell. And Brian Mitchell, the only person that's ever outgained him in total yards is Jerry Rice. And
right, exactly.
Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense. You're doing a lot for the team.
Well, here's the thing about it. Again, they don't see the credit of it. Once again, the cameras aren't on you all the time, like with the quarterbacks and the running backs. You don't put enough time in out on the field, so that they believe, I believe they believe, that, hey, you're not a critical part of the game. You step out and maybe you do maybe 3 or 4 or 5 plays, right? So you're not really a big part of the game that's going to make a change or a difference. But once again, we understand and know that, whether you kick the ball, whether you return the ball, or you block a field goal, you're making a difference in the game, and sometimes it either wins or loses games for you.
Well, and I understand all that, but let's be honest about this. When you look at the average touch, now I'm looking at your career numbers, and let's take the second year, right? So let's take a look at 1976. When your average receiving, it looks like 28.3. Pretty big number, right? Mm-hmm. And you look at 11.8 on rushing. So when you're touching the ball, you're running, and let's say you're getting it 4 or 5 times. Well, listen, boss, it seems to me that 4 or 5 times between those, taking a moving average of those, you're still up near 100 yards a game, if that's the case. And so that is Canton material, is it not?
I believe it's Canton material, but once again, it's the voters, at the Pro Football Hall of Fame that make that call. And here's my part, Sal, is this. So the Hall of Fame committee can put, you into the all-decade teams, whether it's the 70s, the 80s, or whatever, right?
Yeah.
They're the ones that vote on that. So therefore, they've looked at your stats. They know what you did as far as the game is concerned and the standards that you left. I don't understand why you're being overlooked as far as the Hall of Fame is concerned. That's my question.
Yeah, I have the same problem because, look, as a kid, I remember your playing as a kid and the guys from the early 70s all the way forward. And I scratch my head and say, well, there's a lot of guys that are in there, in my opinion, as a non-football player. I could look at it and say, okay, if you're crunching numbers, how come this guy can't make it and this guy can make it over here when it doesn't make any mathematical sense? There is no mathematical formula, as I see it, that is ironclad across positions, whether you're any of the skill positions. Let's just leave it like that. So all those skill positions, there is no real number. It's more of an arbitrary thing. Now, if that's the case, it should go to impact on the game. Look at the field position game that you could flip the field for your team by having a great kickoff return, a great punt return. This is the point. And so I don't think the committee looks at the impact on the game. What are your thoughts?
I believe that. And also I don't believe they look at the consistency of it. And like for me, my first 5 years that I was in the league, right? I was consistent because for 5 straight years, I was in the top 5 as far as average was concerned. Mm-hmm. 5 straight years. So that's being consistent. And for me, when I look at special team ball players, I look at consistency. If you're doing it on a consistent basis year after year after year, and you're making a difference, you're going to the Pro Bowls, and you're making All-Pro, and you're allowing your team to win, I believe that's Hall of Fame material. But once again, I don't know what the criteria is for even getting into the Hall of Fame, let alone a special teams ball player. And my other thing is this, Sal, is that why did it take so long for Devin Hester? Why is it that Devin Hester can get in, but then you got ball players before him that were setting standards in the National Football League?
Right.
That's just for me. I don't understand how they're looking at that.
I don't either. As you were saying, just from the receiving side for your career, you were very consistent. You had a couple of much bigger years, but the reality is you didn't show drop-off at the end of your career at all. In fact, from the last 2 years, you actually went up in average just from receptions. You actually went up in your average from what you did from the year previous. And so At the end of the day, it's not like your career was declining and they had to get rid of you. And this is the part that I have a problem with, because we see so many guys that would just stick around. They hang around for longer than they probably should just so they can get that extra money, an extra how many millions of dollars or whatever. And geez, back then they weren't paying that kind of money. You're playing because you just love the damn game. Sure, you love money too, but they weren't paying what they're paying. You're a pre-93 collective bargaining guy.
That's right. And naturally we had to go on strike. We went on strike in 1980. That was the first time that the league had gone on strike. And we sat out for half the season.
Right.
And so that we could get, a fair playing field. We had to stay with the team, until our contract was up, and then you sit down and negotiate. And so you really didn't have any leverage at that time, because they could say, well, your numbers dropped off, so we don't know if you can be consistent, right? So therefore, here's the money that we're going to give you. But now with free agency, now if those words are said to you, you can say, well, I want to go into the free agency pool, and I want to be able to go and try my luck with another team. We didn't have that negotiating power at all.
Right. Yeah, your hands were tied back then. And they say, well, boy, you had allegiance to your team. Well, you sort of had no choice. But at the same time, that team control over your contract is the polar opposite of what goes on today.
Absolutely. Well, look, you got the kid McLaren, for Washington. He was sitting out, but now he's coming back because they're going to sit down and get a contract done. Look at Micah Parsons down in Dallas, right? He's sitting out because he feels he's more valuable than what they're offering him. So he's going to sit out and says, well, I'll just play this out. I've got enough money, and I'll get into the free agency pool next year or whatever, or either you trade me, one of the two. And the thing about back in the 70s and 80s for me is that even with teams, and people don't believe this when I tell them, is that teams, if they want to blackball you, they can blackball you and tell other teams that, hey, you know what, he's not a good guy in the locker room, he's an issue and he's a problem. And then other teams say, well, I don't want to have to deal with that with my team. Once again, he's a bad guy, so we're not going to take him. So now you have to stay with that team that just said you're not worth the money, and then you have to negotiate something that's close to what you want, and then get a lot of incentive clauses in your contract in order to up the monies.
Yeah, Rick, I want you to hold that thought. Folks, we're going to go to break here in just a few minutes. We'll be back with Rick Upchurch, and this guy, man, he was good. And I mean good. If you're on the NFL All-Decade team 2 times, 2 different decades, you must have been pretty darn good in football. Back here in a few minutes on the Circus. Don't go anywhere. I'm your ringmaster Sal of the Sports Circus, a primetime, nationally syndicated television, radio, sports, and entertainment show. The Sports Circus covers topics others are too scared to talk about. There's no other primetime show like it on here that'll punch you in the face and you'll beg for more. Join me, Hall of Famers, world champions, and all-star celebrity guests for chaos and controversy here on Libsyn and all podcast platforms, plus thesportscircus.com. Remember, folks, it's a circus and we prove it every day.
Why pay retail for your next car? Just visit beepinautos.com to find your new-to-you car or truck. They find cars for people, even when cars are hard to find. So just go to beepinautos.com and click on Find Me a Car, and they find your perfect car on the wholesale market. Beepinautos.com. They're a car concierge. Beepinautos.com. BEEPIN autos.com. Beepinautos.com. Now you have a friend in the car business when you need it most. Trusted since 2013. Just click Find Me a Car at beepinautos.com.
If you'd like to borrow up to $100,000 and get pre-approved in minutes, call the number we'll give you at the end of this commercial. Our lending partners have already loaned millions of dollars to individuals just like you, and we're ready to lend you up to $100,000 if you qualify. Even if your credit is not perfect, you could use the money to pay off high-interest credit cards, for home renovations, or consolidate existing debt. You can get flexible, easy-to-pay terms. The consultation to find out if you qualify is free. To find out if you qualify for our special financing program, call this toll-free number 24 hours a day. 800-335-1376. 800-335-1376. 800-335-1376. That's 800-335-1376. Important terms and conditions apply. Not all applicants will qualify. Loan amount, annual percentage rate, and term will vary depending on creditworthiness. Applying does not guarantee approval. Account approval is subject to verification and confirmation of your credit history and acceptance by a lender. If you choose to apply for a loan through us, a consumer report will be obtained to evaluate your creditworthiness in connection with your application for credit.
That's the sound of sizzling, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks from UppercutChops.com. Their best-in-class filet mignons, New York steaks, and the king of all steaks, the tomahawk and cowboy cut ribeyes are the best in the business. Even their Prime Wagyu burgers will likely be the best you've ever had. Browse the full selection of steaks and chops at UppercutChops.com from the comfort of your home or on your mobile device. UppercutChops.com delivers all-natural, dry-aged USDA Prime Wagyu and Angus steaks and chops directly to your door. store without the hassle of going to the grocery store and fight crowds to pick from a small selection of average at best meats with injected steroids, fillers, and coloring added to look good. Find out what's for dinner at uppercutchops.com or call 714-948-0100. 714-948-0100. 714-948-0100. Or make your selection directly at uppercutchops.com.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm Roy Firestone. Now it's time to throw it back to Sal.
Thank you, Roy, and welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster, Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP Television. Today's show is brought to you by Uppercut Chops, but guess what? This segment is brought to you by the College of Southern Nevada Athletics. Check them out at csncoyotes.com for upcoming games and events. That's the College of Southern Nevada Athletics, csncoyotes.com. You know, they've been with us since the very beginning. We're going to give them the super applause. Yes! All right. Welcome back to everybody listening in on WDJY 99.1 FM over in Atlanta. Thanks for waking up with us. Over in Auburn, Alabama, from Montgomery over to Columbus, Georgia. WAUD, home of the Atlanta Braves. Thanks for joining us there all the way through the heartland out to the West Coast on that drive between sunny Southern California and Las Vegas. Highway Country Radio, 101.5 FM and 107.3 FM up to Seattle to Anchorage down to Honolulu, CBS Sports 1500 KHKA, that's home of the 49ers, the New York Yankees, and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Also, welcome into everybody on all of our independents on cable, whether it's Cox, Comcast, Spectrum, Frontier, Oceanic, Time Warner, Spectrum, WOW, Charter, and that is in select markets plus Hotel TV and all streaming platforms as well. By the way, our friends over at Vacation Buddies wants to give you a couple of nights in Las Vegas or Orlando, Florida, or in Branson, Missouri, if you can answer a very simple trivia question. Which one of these NBA superstars won 6 NBA titles? Is it A, Magic Johnson, B, Larry Bird, C, Shaquille O'Neal, or D, Michael Jordan? If you know the answer, call 888-576-5777, 888-576-5777. Vacation Buddies is not affiliated with this station, but they want to give you a couple of nights in Vegas, Orlando, or Branson, Missouri. If you know the answer to that simple trivia question, 888-576-5777. Call now. All right. Now we are back here with Denver Broncos superstar, historic. Look, this guy has done it all on the field in the Denver Broncos Ring of Honor. 1970s All-Decade Team, 1980s All-Decade Team. I think if we kept reading these accolades, we'd have to go to commercial break. And that would be the great Rick Upchurch. Rick, thanks for joining us once again.
Oh, thank you for having me. Yes, absolutely. I'm having fun with this.
All right. Hey, listen, we are too. And all we want to do is get some real perspective on real stuff. How many shows are out there that maybe you listen to or I listen to, and they almost worry about the money? I mean, let's be real, right? The money's going to get funny if we talk about this, that, because the advertisers don't like it, stations don't like it. Yeah, that's a big problem out there. All right, so where do we leave off? In the last segment, you were making a point, and then I said, hold that thought.
Yeah, we were talking about the Hall of Fame and why, more, special team ball players aren't in. We were talking about Devin Hester and, that he's in, and why guys like myself or Billy White Shoes Johnson or Dante Hall or any of those guys aren't in the Hall of Fame as well. So why did it take, for Devin Hester to get in? This is how I see it. It depends on who is pushing you to get in. It depends on the voices. And I know that Deion Sanders was pushing Devin Hester real hard to get in because Deion Sanders was saying, well, Devin Hester's the best because he has X amount of touchdowns. He doesn't have all the records either, at all. There's a lot of records that he doesn't have, but he does have the records for touchdowns. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. But it's even deeper than that. How often did he put his team in good field position? We did the same thing. Billy White Shoes did the same thing. So did Dante Hall, right? So I think, for me, I think it's the prejudice of the media market. That's just me. Because once again, with Denver back in the 70s, we weren't a big market. Not until 1977, until we won and went to the Super Bowl, did we get any recognition. So the media wasn't there in the Rocky Mountains. They were on the East Coast. They were on the West Coast. They were in Chicago. They were in Miami. They were in Atlanta. They were in all the big cities. But once again, Denver was isolated, so we weren't seen as much on TV.
Well, and an interesting thing about the Denver media market, now we're both right here in fabulous Las Vegas, and for decades before the Raiders got here, this is a Denver Broncos city because that's what was brought on television here locally. A lot of people don't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the Broncos owned this media market here. Although now it's pretty big. Geez, now we have 3 million plus here in the greater Las Vegas Valley, which is crazy to imagine. Geez, when I moved here back in the day, there was 800,000.
Right.
And I think most of the people from California moved here. I don't know. It's something like that, boss.
Well, I would think so. A lot of folks from California, once again, California has its issues just like any other place does.
Yep.
And so therefore people say, man, what I'm going to do is sell my home, come to Vegas. It's affordable. I'll have money in my pocket as long and I can still buy my home that I need in that whole deal. So economics, I think, plays a lot into how folks, man, move around and go to different cities and that whole deal. Denver's the same way. Denver was just a little cow town when I was there, right? Yeah. There wasn't a lot there. But now, man, Denver has all the sports just like Vegas does, right? Yeah. Sports brings people. And they always said, if you build it, they will come. And I think that's exactly what has happened. And people are looking for opportunities.
Yeah. And, as we think of the pre-93 collective bargaining guys, look, there's money out there, but not crazy money. What we're seeing today, Rick, is just, in my opinion, it's complete and utter lunacy in the amount of money that's being just handed off to people that are literally playing part-time or they're playing and making business decisions out on the field.
Mm-hmm. Well, once again, I think that teams look at how valuable you are, to their football team, right? It's an individual thing. Hey, you're with the Atlanta Falcons and that whole deal, and we need you for this spot right here, and you're going to fit it very well. And then they say, well, what is it worth to you? That's what I would say. So for me to stay with the Denver Broncos, what is it worth to you in order for me to stay and be a great part of your football team, and where I can make a difference and I can help and we can win championships? And I think that's the difference as far as, the monies are concerned. And then I think it's a loyalty thing as well. If you've been with a team for X amount of years, 4, 5, 6 years, and they look at you and say, man, you've been consistent, you don't miss games, you don't get hurt a lot. So what we're going to do is we're going to pay you because we can count on you and you're accountable.
Yeah. And, I think a lot of the media hype has a lot to do with these contracts because the media hype drives the advertising and my question is there an antitrust issue, a violation of the Sherman Act between the media and the teams? Or
I don't think so. Yeah, I really don't.
Yeah, these are questions that I have because to me it seems like the media drives the teams, it drives the money, it drives the dollars. And for me, as I look at it, it could be, now just however you look at it, it could be a conflict of interest. It could be a taste of monopolistic competition or an oligopoly. And you try to put your finger on it, you could make a case either way, but it's something certainly that we could think about, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, well, once again, the monopoly thing, man, is very true. When you can corner the market, right, and you can put out there, hey, man, this is how much money that we have, and how much influence we have. This is the influence, just like the Dallas Cowboys, right?
Yep.
Back in the day, the Dallas Cowboys, they owned the media. Remember, America's team. That was what it was all about. Tom Landry and all of those guys, and so they captured the media, and the media stayed with the Dallas Cowboys, and they put them out there, and they made so much money because they were on TV on a consistent basis, and now all of a sudden they make them America's team. Hey, that's America's team. I like the Dallas Cowboys, right?
Yeah. Well, what's interesting about that is, as the self-proclaimed America's team, I mean, let's face it, any team can argue that they're America's team. But because they have a star on their hat, well, geez, that makes us America's team. Well, last I checked, your colors are not red, white, and blue.
Right.
Right. They don't even like the gray.
Yeah, but once again, remember, media, man, the public perception, right? Public perception comes from where? It comes from us hearing things.
Yeah.
Whether it's on social media, whether it's from TV, whether it's from the radio, and they give us a perception that, hey, you know what, Sal's a bad guy, right? Well, you don't like him because he does this, this, and this. Or this guy's a good guy, man. He's Captain America, and he's the best guy, and you'll really, really like him. So they'll give you a perception of how this person is compared to this person and make you the villain or make you the good guy.
What's amazing here in our last 30 seconds here is that we have a situation, Rick, where the media could say you are X, and they have such influence over everybody, and whatever they say, that's what the masses believe, because A, this is their agenda, they control the narrative, and it is tragic that it has to be that way, because somebody may not even be fully represented, but guess what? They're out there, and unfortunately, it's the media saying who they are, despite who they may be. All right, back here in a few minutes with Rick Upchurch. Don't go anywhere. Lots more to come. I'm your ringmaster Sal of the Sports Circus, a primetime, nationally syndicated television, radio, sports, and entertainment show. The Sports Circus covers topics others are too scared to talk about. There's no other primetime show like it on here that'll punch you in the face and you'll beg for more. Join me, Hall of Famers, world champions, and all-star celebrity guests for chaos and controversy here on Libsyn and all podcast platforms, plus thesportscircus.com. Remember, folks, it's a circus and we prove it every day.
Hello, Americans. It's Uncle Sam here. If you owe $10,000 or more in back taxes to the IRS or state, don't worry. I've got important news that may help you negotiate a lower tax bill. In today's economy, the IRS has released a variety of new rules and is offering more flexible terms to help Americans looking to settle their IRS debt. If you apply today, we may be able to lift your wage garnishments and release a freeze on your bank assets or business. Our team of tax professionals can resolve your case and stop collection actions against you. Even if you've been audited or haven't filed a return in years, they can help. Call right now and find out if you qualify to settle your IRS debt for far less than what you owe. Pick up your phone right now and call us for a free $500 IRS tax review. Don't wait. Here's the number.
Call right now. 800-950-2049. 800-950-2049. 800-950-2049. For the last time, that's 800-950-2049.
Do a search on how to get out of credit card debt, and you'll find everything from crazy promises to ways you can try to do it yourself. Many of those ideas just don't work, and they leave you broker than you were. Here's some advice. Call our debt helpline. In a quick and free 5-minute conversation, our experts will listen to you and learn about how much credit card debt you have, what your goals are, and then show you the right solution to help you get out of credit card debt with one new simple, affordable payment. The credit card companies make available special programs to help if you're struggling. All it takes for you to finally get out of credit card debt is one quick, free phone call. So please call right now.
800-948-6817. 800-948-6817. 800-948-6817. That's 800-948-6817. Paid for by the Debt Helpline.
Why pay retail for your next car? Just visit beepinautos.com to find your new-to-you car or truck. They find cars for people, even when cars are hard to find. So just go to beepinautos.com and click on Find Me a Car, and they find your perfect car on the wholesale market. Beepinautos.com. They're a car concierge. Beepinautos.com. BEEPIN autos.com. Beepinautos.com. Now you have a friend in the car business when you need it most. Trusted since 2013. Just click Find Me a Car at beepinautos.com.
Hello, this is Rick Upchurch, Denver Bronco Ring of Famer, and you're listening to The Sports Circus.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster, Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP Television. Folks, make sure you check out thesportscircus.com for upcoming guests, our prior guests, recorded shows, which can be found on Apple, Amazon, Audible, Spotify, iHeart, YouTube, Stitcher, Deezer, plus all the other platforms as well. And by the way, this segment is brought to you by Rick Upchurch, and he's going to tell you all about what he's doing today. And here's Rick to tell you all about it.
What I'm doing today is I'm just relaxing, first and foremost.
Right.
I'm in my easy chair and I'm talking with you, but no. You know what? Once again, I look back, at my playing days, and I look all the way back to the 60s and 70s and 80s, and I looked at the type of money that the players were making back then, which wasn't a lot. I mean, it was a lot compared to people going to work every day, right? At the grocery store or at the car dealership or whatever. We made good money, right? But once again, people, they have the perception that we made a lot of money. And when you say a lot of money, first and foremost, Uncle Sam, if you make a lot of money, is going to get at least half of what you make, right?
Yes, sir.
Or 40% of what you make. And then you have your agents that you have to pay them. And then you have the city tax. And then you have the state tax and the county tax. You have all those taxes, and then you have to pay your agents, and then you have to pay the players' tax within the league that you have to pay. So people don't realize that the monies that you're taxed takes away from the bottom line of what you have. When the players say, "Well, I got $1 million," you don't have $1 million. You're going to have to budget that money out because everybody's going to come at you and say, "Man, you got $1 million, you got $1 million." No, I don't. I might have $800,000, and if I'm a young kid that's just coming into the league, right now, I have to get a place to live. I have to get a car. I have to get appliances. All of these things that you have to get when you're a ball player, and let's say you're a rookie coming into the league, right? And so the money aspect of it, we got to really put it in perspective, because once again, it's generational money, right? I look at Jim Brown and I look at all those guys who played. They didn't make the type of money that we made, and their retirement wasn't that good. Now we fast forwarded from the 60s up to the 70s and 80s, we made decent money. And so we were able to put some of that money away, whether it was in an annuity, whether it was in a CD or money market. And then we were able to go out and buy a good, nice little car, buy a nice home. Now today, let's fast forward to these guys today. Now what they can do is they can go out and get a Lloyd's of London insurance policy. Or they can go out and get that $1 million home, or the 2 cars or the 3 cars, and still put money away and still have money to live on. So we're in a different era today, because once again, there's so much money out there and the teams make so much money that they have to get rid of it, and it's a write-off for the teams.
It's amazing to even hear that they have to get rid of it, but you're right. Because either A, let's say you donate the money and you look like a hero, but the reality is you're going to get either A, you're going to have to pay taxes on it, or what? Or you want to use it for something that could actually help somebody or some organization.
Right.
So,
Absolutely.
Josephine just donated a school to this particular city. Well, Joe was going to lose that money in taxes anyway. So he said, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to look like a hero in the media, and I'm going to donate a school or a park or whatever the heck it is, right? Boys and Girls Club. Well, that's why a lot of times they do it. It's not necessarily because they're great people. It's just because they're looking at the highest and best use of the tax money. And it looks good in the media, which will drive their social media, which drives their popularity, which drives the sponsorship, which drives their income in the first place. It's a big circle, folks. Wash, rinse, and repeat.
You are absolutely right. And that's the circle.
Yeah, it is.
That's how it works. Today, the minute they get that money, right, they say, I'm going to set up a foundation.
Yep.
And that foundation can write it off in that whole deal. Or I'm going to buy this big home, but also what I'm going to put in is a gym. I'm going to put in a swimming pool. I'm going to have an office in my home. And you can write some of those things off because it pertains to my job.
Sure. 20% of 20% of that house could be written off if you're using it as an office. And then you have the additional for all the health things, maybe a pool, maybe a gym. Wow, there's another 10, 15% right there. Before you know it, you could write off half of the damn house, and then you got the taxes you're writing off anyway. So the house turns out to be just one gigantic slush fund, if you will.
That's right. That's right. That's why you see these guys, man, they buy the big homes because, once again, their financial advisors have sat down with them, and their tax advisors. They said, hey, this is how we can get around this and save you some money here and there. And I suggest that all players, man, take some great financial classes and sit down in the off season with your financial advisor and sit down and plan out your future. That's for sure.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that, because when the money is made out there, and look, I belong to a group, Rick, where there maybe a couple of times a year, there's a bunch of guys that played in this league and that league. They're all former NBA, NFL, Major League Baseball, NHL guys, players and coaches, and some are current guys. And when I walk in the room, there's a couple $1 billion in the room, and they're looking for investments. The problem is these players are sorely misguided, and most of them end up buying fast food franchises. And I've had this conversation with Doug Plank, and Doug is a good friend of the show. Doug's a good guy, and outside of all his knee surgeries and everything else, he went and got into, I believe, the Burger King business. And he said, man, I just went out and actually bought a job. I didn't realize how much work it really was. But there are better alternatives, and you know something about that, don't you?
I do. There's a lot of ways, man, that you can shelter your money and make sure that it grows, that's for sure. And like myself, I had an annuity with the Denver Broncos and that whole deal, so they took a lot of my money, and what they did is they used it to sign, other players. And then after, it's a 30-year plan, so after X amount of years, now that money starts coming to me in increments in that whole deal. And so that's how my agent set that up, so that, hey, now in my later years, I'll be able to take those monies. And when the money comes in increments, that means I don't get a whole ball of money, right? It's going to come in short increments, and therefore I'm not taxed on a lot of those monies. I'm not taxed to the hilt, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that way now you can take those monies and you can invest it. You can invest into an Allianz, type of a program, or an insurance policy, or any of those type of things, right? Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that there are great insurance when it comes to whole life policies. There are great options out there, but I also like metals. I like gold. I like coins. I like stuff I could put my hands on. I could hold it and say, hey, this is pretty darn cool. I've been a real estate guy for many, many, many years. And I love that, because if I want to go walk on it, camp on it, do whatever the heck I want, if I want to build a sandcastle on it, I can go do that. My point is, right, I can do it, but a lot of times when we're in certain markets, we can't do anything with it, and you have no control. But with coins, let's go to coins, because I dig coins, and I know you like coins too. We can have fun with those. We can almost treat them like baseball cards, but at the same time, these are great investments, aren't they? Take 1 minute and talk about it, then we'll come back from break and finish up on it.
Yeah, they are great investments. With gold and silver, right? Gold and silver has not, since the beginning of time, ever lost its buying power. You show me where the gold and silver has lost its buying power, and over time how it has gained value. You're in the right place, and because if you hold on to it long enough, it's going to grow. I've gotten into a business called 7K Metals, and man, I can go and I can buy gold and silver for maybe $1. I can buy it for $50. Because right now gold is going for about $3,600 an ounce, $3,500 an ounce. You don't have a lot of people walking around that got $3,500 or $3,600 in their pocket. So with ours, we have what we call a sound money wallet. It's a digital wallet where you can go and you can purchase, gold and silver, and you can purchase it for $1. Let's say I want some gold, right? And so I buy some gold for $3,500. So I can buy it for $1, and then remember back with J.C. Penney's and all of those places, you could have layaway. So I can lay this gold or silver away, and I can make payments on it until I pay off that whole $3,500, right? And now I can either ask for it, hey, send me my gold, or either I can leave it in an Army-grade safe there at 7K until I ask for it. Because I don't want to have a lot of gold and silver laying around my house at Hodel in case somebody, comes in and tries to rob us. Yeah. So the company that we have, they've made it so everybody can get involved.
Listen, when we come back from break, I want you to go into that a little bit more, because a lot of people have a misconception. Well, I've got this gold and I can make money in the stock market and this, that, and the other. They don't understand that gold and silver. My sister's been in the metal business for many, many years, and I saw her build an empire from scratch. And it all comes back to precious metals. Tell you what, folks, we're going to be back here with the great Rick Upchurch in just a few minutes on the Sports Circus. Lots more to come. Don't go anywhere. You don't want to miss this.
Do you know someone with a drug or alcohol problem? Get help right now. Insurance may cover everything. Stop the drug and alcohol nightmare. Are drug and alcohol problems hitting you too close to home? Get help right now. Insurance may cover everything.
800-831-1560. 800-831-1560. 800-831-1560. That's 800-831-1560.
Why pay retail for your next car? Just visit beepinautos.com to find your new-to-you car or truck. They find cars for people, even when cars are hard to find. So just go to beepinautos.com and click on Find Me a Car, and they find your perfect car on the wholesale market. beepinautos.com. They're a car concierge. beepinautos.com. BEEPIN autos.com. beepinautos.com. Now you have a friend in the car business when you need it most. Trusted since 2013. Just click Find Me a Car at beepinautos.com.
Can your IRA stand up to the next financial crisis that our top economists are saying is at our doorsteps? By allocating a percentage of your IRA into physical gold and silver with a tax-free rollover, you can diversify and safeguard your holdings from turbulent markets and economic downturns by putting your IRA back on the gold standard. Find out how to safeguard your assets with a tax-free rollover with a Genesis Gold IRA, the only IRA that can hold physical precious metals. Call now for your free gold and silver report. Protect your IRA today. Don't let your retirement accounts get caught off guard by trade and tariff wars. Learn why a Genesis Gold IRA is the number one choice for thousands of Americans across the nation. 800-709-4423. 800-709-4423. 800-709-4423. That's 800-709-4423.
Do a search on how to get out of credit card debt, and you'll find everything from crazy promises to ways you can try to do it yourself. Many of those ideas just don't work, and they leave you broker than you were. Here's some advice. Call our debt helpline. In a quick and free 5-minute conversation, our experts will listen to you and learn about how much credit card debt you have, what your goals are, and then show you the right solution to help you get out of credit card debt. with one new simple, affordable payment. The credit card companies make available special programs to help if you're struggling. All it takes for you to finally get out of credit card debt is one quick, free phone call. So please call right now.
800-948-6817. 800-948-6817. 800-948-6817. That's 800-948-6817. Paid for by the Debt Helpline.
Hey everybody, this is Brian Urlacher. Welcome back to the Sports Circus.
Welcome back to the Sports Circus. I'm your ringmaster, Sal, live from Las Vegas in the AMP TV studio, AAMP Television. Welcome back to everybody on television and radio and streaming. We appreciate you joining the show and sticking with us here with the great Rick Upchurch. Oh, by the way, folks, at the first break, right after the first break, we had an announcement from Vacation Buddies, and we're going to repeat that for everybody that's just tuning in right now. And maybe you want a couple of nights here in Las Vegas or in Branson, Missouri, or in Orlando, Florida. All you had to do was answer a very simple trivia question and call a toll-free number, which I'm going to give to you in just a moment. Here's the question in case you're just tuning in. Which of these NBA superstars won 6 NBA titles? Was it A, Magic Johnson, B, Larry Bird, C, Shaquille O'Neal, or D, Michael Jordan? If you know the answer, call 888-576-5777, 888-576-5777. Vacation Buddies is not affiliated with this station, but they want you to have a good time in either Vegas for a couple of nights, Orlando, or Branson, Missouri. 888-576-5777 if you know the answer to that simple trivia question. And of course, they get an astounding round of applause, just like our special guest here. That'd be the great Rick Upchurch. And Rick being in the, well, first of all, a 3-time first-team All-Pro, 2-time second-team All-Pro, 4-time Pro Bowler. It's the All-Pros that are the ones that interest me, Rick, because that's voted on by your peers, right?
That's right. That's right. Your peers, they look at it and they say, you know what, he's worthy of being an All-Pro in this league. And I think that's the biggest award that you can possibly get is when your fellow ball player says, you're worthy of this award.
Right. So you did that basically 5 times. The Pro Bowl's more of a cat show, if anything. It was back in the day. It was a fun trip to Hawaii and stuff like that. I went to one of those just to go as a fan. But let's face
really?
it.
You went to Hawaii? Why didn't I see you, man?
I was there in 1992. That's why.
Oh, 92. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think it was a little after your playing time, but
that's right.
You know, you could have been down there maybe as a coach. I don't know, but I did go one time, and I had a great time. I mean, it wasn't for a great game. It's just going because you're in Hawaii in February or in January back then.
Oh yeah, man, that was such a great time. You know, when we would get on that plane and fly across the ocean and land there in Hawaii, and as you're getting off the plane, the Hawaiian women are putting in the leis around your neck, and you're smelling that good fresh air, and that wind is blowing, and you're saying to yourself, I am in Hawaii. What an awesome time. I can't think of a better time than going there and spending time with Walter Payton and Tony Dorsett,
right,
Chuck Muncie, and all of the great ball players, man, in that hotel, and then going out on the field with them and, you know, and entertaining the folks there in Hawaii. And they really enjoyed it. They were really good to us.
Hey, let me ask you a question. Now, I've had this question with many people. I've had this conversation with many people off show, and I just want to know, and we're going to only spend a minute on this real quick. Give me your top 5 running backs of all time.
My top 5 it would be this. I'm going to go with Barry Sanders. I'm going with Gale Sayers. I'm going with Jim Brown. I'm going with O.J. Simpson and Eric Dickerson.
Oh, you did not include Walter Payton. That's interesting.
Well, look, Walter's a great ball player. Look, how do you not have Barry Sanders in there?
Right. Well, how do you not have Gale Sayers in there? He's got to be in there.
Right. How do you not have Gale? And see, everybody forgets about what he did. Only reason that people forget about him, he had a short season, but look at his rookie year. I mean, he had 2,500 yards.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a rookie, and in one game he had 6 touchdowns. And then he was returning punts. He was returning kicks. And still running out of the backfield. Folks, are you kidding me?
The only guy I've ever seen with speed that would match Gale Sayers' breakaway speed was Bo Jackson.
Right.
And Bo Jackson ran a 4.1 with all of his equipment on. That's nuts.
Right. But once again, how do you not put O.J. Simpson in?
I know.
O.J., man, is the first ball player in only 14 games up in Buffalo to go over 2,000 yards.
You got that right. People forget about OJ. OJ was amazing. And now even my buddy that came into SC right after him, Anthony Davis, he says the same thing. OJ has to be in that group. Absolutely.
He does. And how do you not put Barry Sanders in there? Barry Sanders would have broke every. Once again, remember, he left. He said, "Man, I'm tired. I don't want to play anymore." But Barry would have just demolished all that stuff. He would have killed it all. He was on the doorstep of breaking Walter's record, and he still had a lot left.
Oh yeah, he had a lot left in the tank. That's for sure. But
absolutely,
I have to somehow include Walter because of his bulldozing running style, grabbing people and just throwing them to the turf. And on top of it, running over people, jumping over people, doing things that we didn't see much in the league. I got to include Walter in there. And, I mean, Barry, and with all due respect, I mean, Barry was incredible. But Barry ran on turf half of the games that he played.
Well, once again, why should I penalize him because the league, man, decided to go to turf?
I know.
I can't penalize him.
Let's do another show on this. We'll do another show just on this alone because I want to get back to the coins and the investment stuff and whatever. Because some people have been asking me about it. I said, you know what? I got somebody that knows a little bit about that. Let's do another show on these great running backs because, frankly, we could probably do a series on it. So
absolutely,
I'm all in. So let's get back to gold and let's get back to player investment and for the regular Joe and Josephine out there, because they think a lot of people think, well, geez, I don't have the money to invest in that kind of thing. It's almost like you could buy a share of it in the stock market. Maybe somebody who's buying the digital currency like the Bitcoin. Well, I bought $10 worth of Bitcoin, but wait, it's $118,000 per coin. Well, how does all that stuff work?
Well, here's the thing. What I understood about this is that when I ask most people, I says, do you know anything about gold and silver? They say, I know nothing about it. So they don't know what to buy. And so that's why with 7K, our company, we have an educational forum where they can go on and get educated on buying coins, buying collectibles, and all of those type of things. That's the reason people don't get involved. And then they don't have a way, let's say they get in trouble as far as finances are concerned. With our company, with the Sound Money Wallet, you can now sell the coins, the gold and silver, back to the company at spot price or maybe even better. So that's the number one thing when you educate people on how you can sell it back or how you can store it or what to buy, then they get more comfortable and they're like, oh, this is what I understand about it now. I understand how to buy it. I understand what to buy. And I understand who I can sell it back to if I get into a bad way.
Right. Just because gold is at $3,500 an ounce doesn't mean you got to invest $3,500 in the first place. No, you can invest a hell of a lot less. And let's face it, in the grand scheme of things, as you said, I don't ever recall a time when you couldn't liquefy gold. And nowadays, because you don't have to physically own the coins, although you can actually just simply have a portion thereof. Isn't that right?
Absolutely. But once again, we understand that if you go to a pawn shop or if you go to a coin shop or something of that nature, they're looking to make money. So they're not going to give you the value of what that coin is worth. With our company at 7K, we give you, man, what that coin is worth. We get spot price and the whole works. And then when you ask for it, we pack it up, we insure it, and we send it back to you. Then you say to yourself, well, how come I only got X amount of dollars back? Well, remember, we just insured it, and it's handling and shipping that comes along with it.
Right. And listen, folks, that stuff doesn't send for free. And when it's being sent, we don't want to make sure that we exclude insurance. No, it has to be insured because anybody could just heist it. And let's face it, it is a bearer item at the end of the day. And so he or she that owns it or is the bearer of it owns it.
That's right. That's right. And the other thing about gold and silver is this. If you're talking about, man, building generational wealth, just look at the Queen of England when she passed away. When they went into her place where she held all of her goods in that deal, she had $58 billion worth of gold and silver and collectibles and gemstones. Billion.
That's a huge, huge number. Folks, let's put that in reality. That's a 58 with 9 zeros in front of it.
Right.
Wow.
Show me the money! Remember, this is not an overnight thing, right? So when people get the coin or whatever, and they're like, oh man, I'm going to automatically go ahead and sell this, and I'm going to make a lot of money. No. This is an over time type of a thing. That's why we say it's about generational wealth. It's not about right now. And if you hold on to it long enough, it's going to grow. Because gold and silver, again, has never, ever lost its buying power.
Right. It's not a high beta buy and flip scenario. I'll tell you what, Rick, we're running on time here, so take about a minute. Tell everybody how to follow you, how to connect with 7K and everything else. Maybe they're interested in talking with you further. How can they reach you? Go ahead and take a minute to talk about that real quick.
Well, they can reach me through my email, upchurch.nfl@aol.com, or they can go to 7k.com and 7kmetals.com, and then they can go on and we give you a preview of what we are, who we are, and how we do it.
Hey, that's pretty simple, man. I like that. Nice round of applause for that.
Yes.
So what I can say, folks, is you probably have thought about it at some point, but like Rick said, you probably don't think you know enough about it, but you actually do. That's the funny part about it. Because there are a lot of gold elements and silver. We think about electronics alone, even copper. There is a lot of metals in the things that we do on a day-to-day basis. You need to really do a little bit of reading, not a ton, but you can also get a hold of a guy like Rick, but you can get rich talking about Rick. I don't know, man. I'm all over the place.
We can get rich, yeah.
I know. Well, the best part about it is if you get a hold of Rick, you can learn all about this. And Rick, go ahead and tell the names of the website and your email once again, then we're going to get out of here.
Yeah, my email is upchurchnfl@aol.com, or you can go online and Google 7kmetals.com, and you can go there and look at the tutorial aspect of it in that deal. And then what you can do is reach back to me, and I can help you out any way that I can possibly do it.
All right, Rick, thanks for joining us today here on The Circus, folks. It's a good show, and all you've got to do is replay it in case you missed a part of it. And that's going to do it for The Circus. I'm going to see you in about 23 hours right here on your favorite station. Until then, so long, everyone.
If I was your mother and you had a drug problem, I'd grab you by the ear and make you call and get help. You can be in treatment tomorrow and start to get clean in 7 days. Follow Mom's advice and call the Detox and Treatment Helpline now. Write this number down.
800-814-8628. 800-814-8628. 800-814-8628. That's 800-814-8628.
Why pay retail for your next car? Just visit beepinautos.com to find your new-to-you car or truck. They find cars for people, even when cars are hard to find. So just go to beepinautos.com and click on Find Me a Car, and they find your perfect car on the wholesale market. beepinautos.com. They're a car concierge. beepinautos.com. BEEPIN autos.com. beepinautos.com. Now you have a friend in the car business when you need it most. Trusted since 2013. Just click Find Me a Car at beepinautos.com.